The following program is paid programming, and the views expressed are not those of the staff or management of Heaven 97 KHVN.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Building Wealth Together with our experts Rosalind Booker, Rhonda Hutchinson, Melanie Williamson, and Chris Ziegler. Here is Building Wealth Together on Heaven 97 KHVN.
Hey y'all. Top of the noon hour to you. I'm Roz B. Ask Roz B., Principal Broker, CEO of Arbrook Realty. Welcome back to Building Wealth Together. We're getting back to the basics, y'all. We're empowering lives through what? Real estate, credit, insurance, gotta have some money, right? And lending. Got my partners here with me, my partners in crime, and that is not bad crime, but we help people, we corral people, and we help them be so excited about their destiny and their dreams. And we have had such a wonderful time this August series on investing and legacy wealth building. So we're here every first, second, third, and fourth Saturdays. We call it the Hour of Power, high noon, 12 to 1. Don't miss it. You should have us on speed dial, auto dial. We should be on your calendar. Don't miss this opportunity. We have been providing a lot of wealth information that's going to help position you for your destiny. So we're going to get started. I don't want to spend too much time. We have an awesome guest with us today. Yes, we do. But if you're just now tuning in, I want to tell you what this show is about. We're an information and education platform. We seek to, yes, empower our local communities, but we know that we are extending beyond those communities because we are getting testimonials from other states. We are getting testimonials from people who are listening, they're engaging, they're getting the help, and they're applying these principles and tools to their lives. And maybe Melly Mel will want to chime in and share, when we introduce her. But we thank you. We thank you for being here and letting us know that this is helping you. We're Christ Center. We love the Lord. He's the CEO of our lives and our businesses. We know that the KHVN listening community, perhaps most are Christian, maybe not, but we are here to serve everybody alike. You know what? God has been gracious to us. He has brought us from a mighty long way. And you know what? Closed fists can't get more. And the sower will always have seed. So we're continuing to plant and water, and God is going to give the increase. It's all about action. Action changes things. So we want you to execute. We want you to execute with the information that we're giving you here, because after we get off of our knees, we got to have an action plan. We got to be able to move forward towards our destiny. So here's the deal. You can call us at one number today, 469-795-1708. Now you want to call that number after the show. That's 469-795-1708. If you want to engage with us here on the radio, call the station. They are ready for your questions. That's 972-996-3970. Again, that's 972-996-3970. We have a website that's Building Wealth Together, the letter B, the number 2, the letter B.com. That's Building Wealth Together, B2B.com. And if you want to see this lovely crew, the BWT team, hop on over to Facebook, y'all. Follow us, like us, engage with us there. That's Building Wealth Together Radio, Building Wealth Together Radio. Follow us there, and please comment, say something back to us. We are going to be announcing probably the first week in September our Starbucks card winner. So the reason we bring that up is if you go and like that page, follow and engage, we see you there, and we're going to pick a winner that has been the most engaged, that has dialogue with us. We just want to treat you to coffee, all right? So without further ado, we're going to introduce ourselves and get on to the meat of the matter today. We have an awesome show. I'm your host, Roz B. As Roz B, again, principal broker, CEO of Arbrook Realty, where we birth dreams and build legacies in real estate. We're helping people restore, reclaim, and rebuild their lives. And I want to punt it to the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful persons I've ever met in my life. I call her Melly Mel, M&M, baby doll. She is star. I mean, there's no words. Melanie, go ahead and say something to our listening community.
Roz, I tell you, you are the best. You know what? You know, like the mother, the love of a mother, the love of those true friends that share such wonderful compliments. I appreciate you. Hey, Melanie Williamson. I am working with White Jacobson Associates, and my focus is credit and community. So I want to give a shout out right now, to all those who have already reached out for, just making that start, having that courage to build that credit knowledge and starting with the credit education through their free credit analysis, just getting their credit report and looking at it. So kudos to you who have already started that process and taken that step. So I'm so happy to be here today and punting it to who is next? Rhonda, is it the lioness?
Oh, Rhonda's a lion, the lion of Longs. Go ahead, Rhonda.
Oh, lioness. Go, girl.
This is Rhonda Hutchinson, and I'm the lone lioness.
Let me find out. Now, we're going to take this show really on the road.
We need some harmony. Come on.
Yeah, that's what I said. I can harmonize in the back, but please don't put me in the front. You'll be very disappointed.
Hey, I'll stay out in the audience.
But I'm Rhonda Hutchinson. I'm with PRMG. I'm a residential mortgage lender, and I'm excited to be here today back with the HKVN family. We have an awesome guest, Mr. Murphy. I can't wait for him to we can engage in a conversation. But thanks all our listeners, our friends, and our followers. Thank you for joining us today at Facebook Live and on HKVN Radio. Mr. Chris?
Hey, guys. This is Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Agency Allstate, located in Frisco, Texas. And I serve the whole state of Texas. And I'm excited to be on the show today. People call me Zig, and then I'm excited to have Murphy. And people always say, man, you have a lot of your fraternity brothers on there, but we have a lot of guys that I associate myself with who are big on achievement and doing big things. So, hey, you gotta love it.
Yes, absolutely.
And so with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and let Rhonda go ahead and pray us in.
Okay. Like they say, bow our heads. Father God, I just want to come to you and just say thank you. Just thank you for being who you are. Thank you for being everything. Thank you for covering us and protecting us and just being our everything. Lord, I cannot just start this prayer with just thanking you for protecting us and keeping us. And thank you for protecting the BWT team, the direction we're going with this radio station, the lives that we're touching. Just thank you for letting us be that vessel. And Lord, also just asking for your continued guidance, allowing us to say the things, do the things, and be that vessel to move this, not just ourselves, but this community into another direction. And Lord, we want to come and just say a very special prayer for one of our co-hosts who was going to be here today, Ms. June Jenkins with the Collin County NAACP. Lord, just protect her, heal her body, protect her, whatever is going on with her today, Lord, just cover her and protect her in this time of her body needing to be healed. Lord, we just ask you for your continued blessings. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Thank you for that wonderful prayer. Thank you so much. We're better together. Ooh, yes, thank you, Lord. So about today's show, we have been here again, this August series, real estate investing, legacy wealth building. And wealth building is broad. It's not just about money, but if we're healthy, wealthy, and wise, that builds great communities. And we were just having a talk here about, how wealthy people plan and build wealth for 3 generations, whereas, those who are not wealthy, that are poor, plan for the weekend. Let me say that again. Wealthy people plan for 3 generations, whereas those who lack, those who are not wealthy, poor people, plan for the weekend. Lord forbid if that would be us. And you know what? Sometimes people, all it takes is not just a heart shift, but a mind shift. I've often said there's no sense in changing our address, our zip code, our geographical location, if nothing on the inside changes. I've often believed that success in any realm is first an inside job. Did y'all hear me? I say success is an inside job. And yes, we do. We do need money. We do need money. We do need money, not just to pay our bills, but to build that financial wealth so that our children don't suffer. But we got to take care of ourselves. And we've been very strategic and careful about, and intentional about, those that we are inviting to the show. And we'll have Chris Zig, y'all. He's going to introduce our speaker. So we're going to talk about legacy wealth building, historically what it's looked like, what have been some of the challenges. And we're also going to talk about where we are today, but we're not just going to leave you there. We're going to have some positive reinforcement. And I always say we're going to be your accountability partners forever, right? So we're going to, share with you what are some tools, what are some things that once we end this show today, that you can take away, that you can actually go and make transformation happen. And that's what it's about. I always say, change can be temporal. We can be motivated. Our ears can be tickled and we can be motivated and hyped. It's like, yeah, I'm going to get off this show. And I'm going to go do that. Then, life happens. Then, those spheres of influence, those circles, those negative influencers, they're there like crabs in the barrel to pull you right back down, not only mentally, but physically, where you feel like you cannot leave a realm or a situation. Well, you know what? I've got sick and tired of being sick and tired. The people on this call got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And sometimes people are looking for the answers on the outside of them when the answer is already on the inside. I was talking to the team the other day, and I was just sharing with them, how God questioned Moses, and he said, Moses, stop your fretting. I'm paraphrasing. Stop your fretting. What you tripping about, man? What you tripping about? What is in your hand? What do you have in your possession? What is on the inside? What is in your circle? What are the innate gifts that I've given you that you won't even receive or use? Woo, it's going to be a great show, y'all. Y'all got me going already on my soapbox. So we're going to punt it to Chris to introduce Mr. Murphy. I met Murphy in some circles, and one thing I can say about him now, he is a great influence in the community. When he walks in the room, not only will you think Godzilla walked into the room, almost 7 feet tall, y'all. I think he's 7 feet. No, but I'm talking about he carries a presence about him that's of authority, that dominates. And when I say that, I mean that in a positive way, because you have to have those innate qualities about yourself and in your character to make things happen, to change the trajectory of your life. And so I first wanted to just thank you, Murphy, for being here. And so Principal Zig, take it away.
All right. Good morning. Good afternoon once again, KHVN family. I'm Chris Ziegler, once again with Allstate Ziegler Agency. And I'm honored to have another fraternity brother on here again, Mr. Murphy Cheatham. Me and Murphy go back a long way. And many of you know I got two allegiances to two HBCUs, Orlando Smith College and Grambling State University. And me and Murph cross paths with Grambling State University because we're both the same member of the same chapter, the Gavin Side chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi. And Murphy and I go way back, and we do a lot of things together. And first and foremost, we're brothers in Christ. And just want to thank Murphy for being on today. What I'm going to let Murphy do is talk about his commercial real estate business, the different things he's doing as far as investing and things of that nature. And I'm going to let Murphy take it away now and let him introduce yourself to the KHVN family.
Hey, well, thank you so much. Chris, I appreciate you having me on here. But Roz, I don't know what to do after that setup. Roz, you make me feel like I feel like I'm a superhero. Like I could just fly and do whatever I want to. So
hey, Murphy Kelly. Hey, Murphy, be who you are, man. Just be who you are.
Just be real.
Yeah. Well, hopefully recording this because I'm gonna play that introduction back every morning.
Okay.
No matter how I feel. But no, thank you all for having me on here. As Chris said, I'm a 2001 graduate of Grambling State University, Spring '99 initiative, the Gamma Psi chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. I have a master's in real estate development from Arizona State in 2007. I've done economic development throughout the U.S., worked for the city of Shreveport, managing their HUD allocation, and I also worked for the National Development Council, which was founded by the Kennedy family in the 60s, really to do economic development throughout the U.S. So I did some developments in Port Arthur, Memphis, all throughout the southern U.S. as well, and jumped out on my own in 2015, started my commercial real estate agency, and then now I'm a broker. From last year, I gained my broker's license. So, and I've learned a lot. So I really approach every situation from a financial, tangible aspect, really cut through the emotions, say, okay, what tangibly can we do to make the situation better and get everybody to their goals? So I appreciate, number one, us having this conversation with our fellow followers in Christ, and then also bringing us around to something tangible without just rehashing the old stuff. Loudly restating the obvious is not leadership. Leadership is providing solutions and leading people to what the best solution is for them and what they decide. So I appreciate you all having me on here.
You know, Murphy, it's great to have you on as well. And Roz said a profound thing at the very beginning. Sometimes wealth is just not money. So with that being said, Murph, tell me how you define wealth.
I appreciate that. I define wealth as creating a cash flowing balance sheet, right? And people say physical wealth and spiritual wealth and all of that is good, yet and still. But we live in a very capitalist society. We live in a capitalist world, right? Even the communist countries are led by the people who have all the capital. So at the end of the day, I define wealth as having a cash flowing balance sheet, having assets that provide cash to you and your family to do with it, hopefully, what's best, right? Whatever you deem best. But I define wealth as not having to get up every day and chase a dollar just to cover my bills. Wealth is having assets you could go to where you can use and leverage to get more assets. And that's.
Yeah. Hey, Murphy, I totally agree with that. It's at the end of the day, are you under bridge, or can you pay your bills, and right. What have you set up for your kids? And that does involve the green. It does involve a transferring of currency to make Absolutely. Those things happen. I would like to append just by saying, and I know you've seen some balance sheets, but yep. Those people who have the cash, do you feel most of them are broke down in their spirit? What is it about them that helps them connect with the ability to gain wealth or the people who can help them gain wealth? What would you say about that? What are the characteristics, the personalities, the persona? What is the makeup of those people that you see with large cash balances?
You said it at the very beginning of the show. And I didn't know you were going to start the show off with that, but you said at the very beginning of the show, internally, they've already decided what's for them. They're not trying to be like the person in another lane. They're not chasing this new fad or that new fad or this get rich quick scheme. They know themselves, and they've underwritten themselves, and they have their own plan, and they have their own long-term plan, and they've executed it. Has it changed along the way? Yeah, there's a lot of things that we can't control. but you can't get somebody that is focused on building real estate to then get them to switch and focus on trying to be an IT tech guru. They know that's not them, right? So they know, okay, this is real estate. I need to have my credit right. I know it's my cash flow. I'm not going to allow somebody to pull me off my own plan, because there's a million ways to make money, but they know what's best for them and they stick to it over time. And you're not going to re-engage them 6 months later and they're on something way different or something way new. They built their development over time, and then they leverage other people and trust other people who are good at what they do, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Murphy, I had a question for you. I know we've had this discussion on many occasions, but share with our audience what some of your successful clients do and kind of some of the things they do to make things happen for themselves.
You know, I have some very wealthy mentors, extremely wealthy mentors, and I've just gone straight to them. Some you've met, and some that are very, very private relationships. And each one of them, I just said, "Hey, man, tell me about it. Hey, tell me about it. How did you do it?" They said, have your own plan and just keep good, great people around you. Right?
Yeah.
And you can't do it by yourself. If you have this idea and you want to do every aspect of it by yourself, you're going to burn yourself out and nothing's going to get done. Right? Know what you're good at, and then bring other people who are good at what you need them to be good at and leverage it. And you're going to have to trust people. Right? So keep some good people around you.
Yeah.
So you said good people around you and things of that nature, but are the people around you, do they all look like you, or do you have a variety of people that you reach out to?
Variety of people in Rise. I think you might have to.
Hey, let's hold this thought. This is already getting gooder and gooder. It's got my adrenaline flowing over here. Let's hear from our sponsors real quick. We'll be right back. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Superior Abstract and Title is not your typical title company. We make our clients feel number one by answering every call and working around the client's schedule. We will close the customer at any location they choose with no cost added for this service. In addition, we are a 100% woman-owned business. Contact Superior today at 214-705-1310 or superiorabstract.com.
Well, if you're just tuning in, welcome back to Building Wealth Together, Back to the Basics. I want to give a shout out to my sponsor and my friend, Brian Jennings. He's the president of Next Generation Payroll. He is in Dallas, and he provides payroll services, marketing consulting, HR consulting, and he has been extremely busy and wants to meet you guys. So reach out to him at 214-396-2200, or you can find him on the website at ngpayroll.com. Chris?
Hey guys, now I want to give a shout out to Walter Pickney with Superior Air. Superior Air is a Superior HVAC company. They do residential, commercial, they do AC installations, they do maintenance and service and repair, and they do the whole DFW Metroplex. And Walter can be reached at 469-636-0945, and that's Walter Pickney with Superior Air.
Hey, if you're just, again, joining us, it's Building Wealth Together, Back to the Basics. We have Mr. Murphy Cheatham. He has already got us going, got us stirred up on the inside. Can't wait to hear more. But hop on over to Facebook. If you have Facebook, join us at Building Wealth Together Radio. Like and follow, engage with us. We want to hear from you. If you have any questions for Murphy or anyone on the team while we are on the air, you can call 972-996-3970. Again, that's 972-996-3970. Our website is Building Wealth Together, the letter B, the number 2, the letter B.com. Building Wealth Together, B2B.com. What are we talking about today? We're talking about legacy wealth building, the history, where we are now and the future. Holistic, everybody wants to be successful, right? Nobody wants to wake up and fail. But there are some things that we are going to have to do. Action changes things. I know we may have all had a story. How long, though, are we going to let it be someone else's fault? How long, though, will we blame or have the face of blame on someone else. That's just way too much power, y'all, to give a person, a place, or a thing. But you know what? We can gain wealth and can't keep it. We can have wealth, we can have a little bit of money and don't know how to make it grow. That's why we're here. We're bringing people on the show that can help us. But let's get back and bridge to the conversation, Murphy. Let's pick up where you left off. Let's talk about some accountability tools. What have you seen as a stumbling block to people gaining wealth or even heading that direction, and some roadblocks, and then some things that they can do to move forward, plow ahead?
I'm not sure that he
Murphy,
is
you're
on
muted.
right now, but I wanted to
sorry
piggyback
about that.
on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Go ahead.
Well, you talked earlier about mindset, and you know, it takes transforming of the mind. That whole generational wealth and what wealth means to
Sure.
each of us is uniquely different. But again, you know, maybe it's the first person owning a home in their family generation versus renting and paying someone else's mortgage. So for me, that stuck out because we can't allow other people to define, or we can't share our dream and vision with everybody. So I was bursting at the seams to engage when you were talking about that. So mindset and transforming the mind and not playing that same old record from the past, you know, starting anew, jolting awake. And that's what we're doing right now. This is a time for a shift and time for jolting awake. And so I want to throw that out there in that interim while Roz, if you want to go ahead and re-ask him that question to kind of refresh him.
Before Roz go, I had a question that was texted me, and I don't know if this may be one of the questions that Mr. Murphy asked first, but define wealth. You know, and you think about it. Define wealth.
Well, wealth, I mean, there's different types of wealth, but I think for the purposes of this show, we're talking about actual financial wealth. So the definition of wealth to me is having a cash flowing balance sheet. Being wealthy means having assets you could leverage to get more assets, to where you don't necessarily have to go, you know, there are people where banks seek them out as opposed to you having to seek a bank account, right? There are people where banks will bend over backwards to lend to. And those people are the wealthy people because they've shown that they know how to turn an asset profitable. Right. So wealth to me is having a cash flowing balance sheet. You having assets to where whether you get up in the morning or not, they're cash flowing. Now that does not mean you won't have any problems. I mean, that does not mean you could go live the rest of your life on a beach every day if you wanted to, or so on and so forth. But wealth means managing assets and having cash flowing assets. And I think that's a conversation that hopefully, prayerfully, as you guys are having, that's a conversation that needs to be had next. Right, is because the people with assets and people with wealth dictate what happens in the legislature. Dictates what your local politicians do and don't pay attention to.
Okay, I'm gonna be the advocate. I'm gonna be the advocate here, not the devil, but I'm gonna be the advocate here. So this is an onion. Let's peel this onion back that has many layers. You talked about banks seeking you out. So that's a person who is goodness, maybe 6, 7, figures. So. Look, I'm just trying to pay my bills.
Sure.
So can you talk to me on that level? Where do I start?
Right? Sure. No, I appreciate that. So bringing it back to your prior question, I think it's the same answer for both questions. The first thing you need to do is you need to have a plan, right? If you are shooting by the seat of your pants because you're intelligent and you're allowing your emotions to dictate what you're going to do next with your time, with your day, with your week, those are the people that I've seen fail. The people that have a plan and write out a plan and then execute that plan are the ones that deem to be successful. So the first thing you need to do is have a plan. Second thing you need to do is you need to learn your financials or talk about your personal financials, right? So that means, pulling out, the first thing banks want to see is your last 2-3 years of tax returns. That means pulling out your tax returns. How much money have you really made? Are you really good at making money? Right? I mean, and this is where you'll need to get to a credit specialist, and this is where you'll need to go talk to a loan officer. So a loan officer can underwrite you as if a bank will underwrite you. And there's a lot of information.
Hold on, Murphy. You said,
sorry about that.
I said this is an onion here. So I'm working.
Sure.
I am working. I make maybe I make 45,000 a year, and
Yeah.
I'm not overspending. I'm a good steward. You know, I did go to school. I got me an associate's degree. Yeah, I'm paying some student loans back. But I mean, how can I have extra to do what you're talking about when it's just not there? So I'm underemployed. What
Yeah.
can you help me? What's the next step for me?
So here's my question for you, Roz. You're this person that's very likely, and then that's across our society right now, throughout our economy. You have, what is your idea? What do you want to do? Right? So if you're making $45,000 a year, you're underemployed, and you want to be wealthy. If you want to be wealthy, some people don't want to be wealthy, but if you want to be wealthy, what are you good at? What do you want to do? What is your dream? And you need to write that out in detail. And if you're waiting for money to pop up for you to do that, well, then you're not motivated correctly, right? So you need to write out your path to wealth in detail. And there are people who look for people to do the legwork and for them to invest in, right? But for you to go and get an investor to build your wealth, because you're not going to be able to do it on your own, no matter how smart you are. And wealthy people know that as well. If you want to go bring an investor to build your wealth, you need to have something tangible to show them that, hey, this is your plan, and that you've at least done the research, right? Because that's the value you are bringing. And going back to an earlier question, wealthy people understand value over cost, and there's a difference. Cost, and that might be a whole other conversation. But you need to bring value no matter what room you walk into or no matter who you speak with. You need to bring and offer value. And values in more ways than just money. If you're going to do the hard work, the leg work, the research, or what have you, then do that. You know, but the first thing you need to do is do hard work and research on yourself. Understand where you are credit-wise and what your own debt capacity is.
And Martha, the people we already have out there who do have businesses and stuff like that, I know you went to a little seminar where they were talking about how, especially in the African American community, they're not able to keep the business because they're leasing the land and not actually purchasing the land. Yeah. And that's why we have gentrification. Can you kind of explain that to our audience as well?
Yeah. Again, I've worked in economic development for a number of years and still consult on that as well. Here's the issue, just being very frank and real with you. There are a lot of businesses of color who play the quote unquote tax hustle, right? Mm-hmm. To where you're only going to show just enough revenue on your taxes so you don't pay this huge bill, this huge tax bill. You don't have this huge liability out here, or you may even get a tax return. When it comes time for you to buy the building that everybody assumes you've owned for the past 15, 20 years because you're a staple in our community, mm-hmm. You don't have the financials to show the capacity for the loan. Although you've been paying your landlord's mortgage for the past 10, 15, 20 years. And you can see that, I can see that in your rent payments. I can see it in your lifestyle, about what you drive and where you go. I can see you making money, but you're not showing it. Now, when it comes time to get that SBA loan, where SBA has some great products, an SBA 504 and SBA 7A loan, which are combined 90% loan to value for businesses, right? When it's time for you to come and get that 90% loan to value SBA loan, you haven't shown the profitability in your taxes to get approved for that loan. So now what happens? You can't get approved for the loan. So here's somebody else who has cash or can get approved for the loan, and they come buy the building and move you out. And then we holler about gentrification, but gentrification is really the after effect of a whole bunch of long-term decisions mm-hmm. that have or have not been made over time. So I think we need to get past the tax hustle and start showing our true revenue so we could build up our own financial capacity over time to then take over the neighborhoods and not worry about gentrification.
It's good that you said that too, because that's one thing, you know, Roz and the group preaches about. Even on the personal side, they said the home first, then the car. Yeah. And it's kind of the same thing with the commercial thing as well. Sometimes people have the same mentality, trying to get that hustle on and not doing the things they need to do to make sure they own the business. They basically just kind of listen and read the business. And when it's time to cash in, they can't do it. Same thing with the cars. Not to knock anybody about having a nice car, but, you know, get that nice house where you're going to have some equity in the house so that when it's time to move on, you have something to build your wealth.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of wanted to bridge on that. Thank you for that, Chris. You know, home equity, again, and that is my soapbox, and I am preaching that home equity that's a large percent of families' wealth. And statistically, if we research that wealth gap between, one race or one culture versus another is home ownership, about 60% of it. I was just reading some startling facts that, non-Hispanic whites, their net worth is about, 130,800 just because they own a home, whereas African Americans, their net worth is about 9,500. And just because you own a home, that is the difference between wealth. So that's why we always say that you should own where you lay your head and stop making the landlord rich. No, don't rent to own to rent. And remember, you mentioned something about, your career and tenure in the Louisiana area. In 2017, we visited some friends, and actually we went through NOLA, New Orleans. And I was researching as we were going through there, my heart just dipped because many of the slabs in the it was just a lot of homes that were missing, that were just wiped out from Katrina. And I had researched, and it said that 90% of the population had rebounded, but some of the population hadn't rebounded in the lower Ninth Ward. And that 60% pre-Katrina, 60% of the lower Ninth Ward were homeowners. They were homeowners. But after Katrina, many of them lost their homes because they could not provide the proper proof of home ownership to even rebuild. That drove a stake in my heart, because you mean paperwork? Because we didn't have the proper paperwork, we could not rebuild our home. Talk to us about just that.
I appreciate it. It is pretty amazing. Well, I'm going to go back to your initial point that you made, and then I'm going to talk about the paperwork issue, which is an issue throughout communities of color throughout the United States. Katrina just tore the top off a lot of things that have been there systematically for years. But the initial thing is a lot of small businesses start out of equity from families' homes, right? So if you look at how these huge corporations got started, a lot of them are somebody's parents took equity out of the house and invested in a business. And that's what gave them cash to sustain for 6 months to a year until they became profitable, so on and so forth. So to your point about, to your soapbox about home equity is such a launching pad for so many things in American society that is just either looked where maybe people are ignorant about it or what have you. But equity in a home could be used for so much more besides just an add-on or a nice car or a nice vacation. It's really used to build wealth, which is what we're talking about. When I was over housing and business development for the city of Shreveport, the number one reason why it was so tough for us to build in low-income communities is because somebody moved Big Mama's house when she passed on, and they didn't do the chain of title, a simple chain of title. Somebody passed on and somebody from the family just moved in. And it happened generation after generation after generation. And it was never updated. Louisiana has parishes, most others have counties, and it was never updated on the parish, right? So when it comes time to, I've been living in this house, I've been paying my bill in this house for the past 5-10 years, and it was left to me by my family member who passed on. Okay, well, the chain of title wasn't there. So now, Big Mama had 38 heirs. So now every one of these heirs has an equal share to this house. And you might have in Ziggs, I know you know about that, in insurance, right? So you might have an issue to where a lot of the family lived in New Orleans, but somebody might have moved. My parents from Louisiana, and I was born and raised in Oakland, California. So somebody might have moved to Oakland. You still need their signature to get clear title. Somebody might have moved to New York. Somebody may have moved to Chicago. Somebody might be in Houston. Somebody may be in Dallas. You need everybody's signature on the piece of land for that one person to have clear title on that land. And we know the issues that can arise once family understands that there's money on the line. And we don't need to go through that.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a whole nother show.
I'm not signing nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah. So, we've been talking about a lot of lack. What if, how do we cure the lack? How do we cure the lack now? This is going to be something that sounds like an anomaly. So I researched something now. We got some money. We spending money now. Yeah. I read
we are.
that Black Americans have a huge consumer base, and it influenced the marketplace. In 2019, we had the power of 1.4 trillion, and that's expected to be 1.8 trillion in 2024. So somebody's not telling the truth here.
Well, they tell the truth, but what it is, we as African Americans, we don't leverage that truth. That's where the problem lies, because we have a big voice in how things should be dictated, but we have to be cohesive and get together and be on the same sheet of music when it comes to different things, because you see it on Facebook where they do these blackouts and things like that. And a lot of times when they do come together and do that and don't buy spending for a certain day or something like that, they see the impact. And it's kind of like you go back to the civil rights times when they had the boycotts and things of that nature. We can actually have a similar impact, especially through social media and through these retail services they provide for us today as well.
Listen, I'm gonna. So Roz, I don't know if you said that for me to kind of respond to it, what have you.
Oh yeah, everybody. Mm-hmm.
I feel a need to number one, we are traditionally pass-throughs, right? Mm-hmm. Our communities have been pass-throughs. Any money our communities get, we put it right back. We take it right back to the high-end malls. Mm-hmm. Well, number one, we spend it on necessity, and then we go spend it on other goods. But I'm going to share one other aspect of thought. America's number one export for decades has been entertainment. That's America's number one export. Who is the biggest influencer on entertainment in American society? Whether it's sports, music, theater, or what have you. Who would you say is the biggest influence on entertainment in American society, and therefore the world?
African American.
Think about it. So it's not only that we spend, it is the money that we influence, right? Mm-hmm. And we're just talking about the trillions of dollars that we spend. That's one thing. But if you look at everything from women's clothing to hairstyles to jewelry, to shoes, to cars, to everything that the R&B, pop, and rhythm and blues and what have you has influence on consumerism around the globe, let alone America. Mm-hmm, it's to the point of not only the dollars that we have, but the dollars that we influence. And it's one of those where we're giving it away and not having equity. That's what people are talking about, ownership, as opposed to taking a little bit of peanuts and giving the ownership away to somebody else.
It's generational. You said it earlier. It's traditional. It's generational. It's a physical, tangible, information. When we step out into the world, what is success look like? From traditionally, generationally, what does success look like? It's the car we drive, or what is it that we can see? So it's the behind the scenes that we're talking about as far as transforming the mindset toward what these steps look like to what do the wealthy think like, and what does that look like to plan for 3 generations versus the weekend? It is a decision, and it is a choice, and everybody has free will to make that. But for my standpoint, when I see individuals out there and they want to, see them successful with the things that they have, how they look, the clothes that they wear. And so what we're talking about is a mind shift, and it is about transforming. And so the money that we can gain when we start working together, we're collaborating. We're using our knowledge, our skill set. We're reaching out to you, and we're coming to a place of, hey, we don't know it all. How can we come together and do something in a substantial way to shift the trajectory of our life and look to the generational traditions changing? I'm just excited about this conversation because it does take a mindset to shift from, and what are the first steps? And I love that you've walked through, hey, what can we do? We can start with the equity. So equity in the home to actually build something by buying versus renting and start there. So
Right.
I love it.
And I'm gonna say something before we have to go to a commercial break. And you're right, Melanie. I just want to piggyback on. I'm just thinking about, my childhood, just coming from the South. And you think about your family and your family formation of when you have that cousin. Who do you think about when you think of that family member or that family that made it? Do you think that they made it? They got the good job. It's the one that shows up with the Cadillac.
Yeah.
You think about it. When you have bought the Cadillac, you're the family that's got it going on. So you're right. That's how we as African Americans identify wealth, by the things that we purchase and the things that we, buy. So you're right. But we're going to take a commercial break right now. We're going to hear from Superior Abstract and Title.
Superior Abstract and Title is not your typical title company. We make our clients feel number one by answering every call and working around the client's schedule. We will close the customer at any location they choose with no cost added for this service. In addition, we are a 100% woman-owned business. Contact Superior today at 214-705-1310 or superiorabstract.com.
And welcome back to Building Wealth Together, back to the basics. Hey, I wanted to let you know that I've got a great sponsor for this week, and his name is Brian Jennings. He is the president of Next Generation Payroll. You know what? I am so excited to share that he is dealing with a lot of small businesses that are dealing with downturns and challenges. So he is helping with payroll services, marketing consulting, HR consulting. So you can reach him directly at 214-396-2200. You can also reach him on his website at ngpayroll.com. Chris?
Hey guys, once again, this is Chris Ziegler with the Ziegler Agency Allstate. And my God, I'm going to give a shout out to is Walter Pickney with Superior Air. Superior is a Superior HVAC company. Once again, they do AC installation, maintenance and service and repair. They do a phenomenal job. They do the whole DFW Metroplex. And he can be reached at 469-636-0945. And that's Walter Pickney with Superior Air. And if you guys are just joining Building Wealth Together, back to the basics, we're talking with Murphy Cheatham and with the rest of the crew about building wealth and things of that nature. And we can take one caller at 972-996-3970, or you can ask a question on Facebook, and definitely reach out on that Facebook as well and like that page. And also you can get in there and also get in the drawing for the Starbucks coffee next time, which is going to be at the beginning of next month, because we will be off next week because it's the 5th Saturday. So tune in the first Saturday in September, and I'm going to get it back to you, Ross.
Awesome. I tell you, this is great stuff. Murphy, you bring such a holistic perspective about wealth building. And I love that Melanie has chimed in, Rhonda, and everyone. This is just a fabulous platform and team. When we know better, we should do better, right?
That's right.
Sometimes it takes a concerted effort. I know sometimes we can say, hey, just get over it, but we need each other, just
right.
like the team, to not just get to it, but get through it. And,
yes.
But it starts with us. It starts with, like I said, a mindset and a heart shift that says, I am going to win. I am not going to stay here. And, a lot of people think that they're too old. Maybe they missed their season for wealth. And I'd say age ain't nothing but a number. I mean, people may have had a hard time in life, maybe went through a divorce, maybe lost a business, or, lost a home in foreclosure. So on the rebuilding, and that's one of my mantras for years to come, is to reclaim, restore, rebuild. Reclaim, restore, rebuild. What are we reclaiming? Well, we're reclaiming identity. I like what you said, Murphy. You got to have a plan. You got to know where you're going. And a great man of God said, hey, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you anywhere. So that get rich quick stuff, those multi pyramids, which is real for some people, Murphy. I've seen the checks, I'm not going to name the category, but I've seen the check. That's working for somebody. But I mean, I'm just of the opinion, you know, if you want abs, if you really want abs, you're going to have to get not only just in the gym, but that it's made in the kitchen. So there's no shortcuts. You know, these one-hit wonders. I mean, there are people who did not go to college that are millionaires, billionaires. So let's talk about that. Do you recommend people go to college now, or just get on the entrepreneurial bandwagon? You know, what are your suggestions for guiding people who are just not sure what their plan or their pathway should be, Murphy?
Well, and that's a very good question. I'll take myself and my wife for example. I'm an entrepreneur by heart, right? My wife is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. I don't know why she married me, but she's one of the smartest people I ever met. And my wife is
the smartest person.
You know, she's an extremely accomplished attorney. She's great at school. That was her thing. I know some people who have never gone to college and got a real estate license or an insurance license at 18 years old when they could, and were great and immediately. It depends on you. I'll be honest, I know plumbers and some electricians, ridiculous amount of money being a plumber and an electrician, not even owning where they work for, being a plumber and an electrician. So that all depends on the person and your skill set. You better with your hands, you better with people, or are you good at information and kind of bringing all the information together, creating your own reports out of that? That depends on you and your own skill set. But I think before you go and try to acquire assets, you need to be very real with yourself. And I'm not, forgive me, I forget who said this earlier, but I know some really broken people. And they're not happy. They wake up. I had a past client that woke up every morning crying. Now they had a great business and made a whole bunch of money, but you need to be right with yourself first, and you need to underwrite yourself first. You need to know what you're good at, and you need to know what's going on first and what have you. And then whatever industry that you want to, know that number one, there are successful people in that industry, and there's information that you can go get without having to learn. So for commercial real estate, I would look up the CCIM course, which is Certified Commercial Investment. And those courses, 4 courses, and those courses teach you how to underwrite what is a realistic commercial real estate deal or not, how to think like an investor. Investors think about number one, return of their money, and then return on their money. Those are the 2 things. They find out what's a nominal return, right? People, equity investors in commercial real estate who are investing in equity are investing they want to return anywhere from 15 to 20%. You know, so when you look at that, if somebody's saying I'm double my money in a year, that sounds like a scam. But if someone's promising me 5%, that's way too low. So you need to understand what you're kind of going into. And I know that we have some questions, so I don't want to, take over too much. But in what to do first and wealth building, it's a lot of understanding what you want to do, having your plan, and being disciplined in that, and then not allowing yourself to be pulled off of your plan. What's for you? What God put in you is for you. If somebody wants you to do something else than what God told you to do, well, that's not of God. Now, if you do that, you got to suffer the consequences.
Right.
And I'm going to leave that alone so we can take some questions.
Okay, we do have a question that came into HKVN. It says, what programs out here are teaching African Americans how to get out of debt and build wealth, just like Dave Ramsey? So in other words, we have programs out there like Dave Ramsey has to teach folks.
Yeah. I would definitely say that Dave Ramsey course is a great place to start. And you have to consider your source. I believe in 90% of what Dave Ramsey says, right? I don't believe, the only thing that I don't believe you could save your way into wealth. You have to invest, and you have to leverage the credit system. But the very first thing, and my father and I are best friends, and we talk almost. My dad has a saying: the first thing you do when you dig yourself into a hole is stop digging. Right.
Right.
So, if you have all these credit cards, if you have all this credit, the first thing you need to stop doing is stop spending money. Right. Or evaluate your life and kind of figure out where you can spend money or where you can save, or do you need to change your lifestyle up? Before you talk about making money, you have to figure out what habits you have right now.
Right.
Because I think Chris said before we got on, if you make a whole bunch, or I'm not sure if it was you, Roz, if you make a whole bunch of money, you have the same habits, you're going to end up right back where you were.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the reason why most lottery owners go broke most lottery winners go broke within 5 years. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of figure that part out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna chime in real quick too, and then some on a smaller scale. We've done like first-time home buying seminars. Of course, it might not be to the magnitude of really getting deep into it, but before you're ready to get into, of course, like a Dave Ramsey, we can kind of give you some bases like Roz and Ron and I and Melanie. We've done home buying seminars. We kind of touch on it so that you can kind of get an idea of what that process is like to get you started, and then you can see what the situation is, and then kind of move over and catapult into the next level. Of course, we haven't been able to do a lot of those because with the COVID right now, we used to do those seminars, and Roz has done quite a few as well. We've all done them, and we've done them together. So that's one thing you can do. Also, we might can put a Zoom meeting together for some of these people as well in the future. That might be something we can do.
Yeah. You can also start tracking your spending. You're talking about habits, but tracking your spending. So what are you actually spending your money on? So if you get your bank statement, or you just, every time you spend anything, write it down. And that would be a first step to assess, hey, where you are right now. So what are you spending your money on? What it's kind of like what's important to you right now. So you got to choose and make a decision as to, okay, wow, look at what I didn't realize how much I was spending in this area, and what could you be doing with that money that, it could be extra money to pour into building a stronger financial portfolio. So it's about acknowledging where we are. It's like, hey, let me look at this. We want to look at in the mirror of what we're actually doing. So then look at your credit report. Where are you? Sometimes we avoid it because we just assume that, oh no, I made mistakes in my past, and I went through a divorce, and I went through all these things. I know it's messed up. I don't even want to look at it. So some people, we may end up thinking like we got to resort to, the payday loan companies and rent to own, and those are money. They just like a vortex of sucking up your money, so you're working so hard to make it, and then you end up with, in that whole cycle of the payday loan company and tote the note, and it's something we just have to look at. Where are we? Let's take a snapshot of where we are, and that to me would be a first great start.
Yeah.
2 points I want to make really quick, if I can, because I know we're kind of ending the segment of the show. 2 points I want to make really quick. Number one, especially in communities of color, we, due to ignorance in finance, we are paying multiple of what that thing costs that we're making payments on, i.e. payday, pay here, buy here, pay here, car places, payday loans, your rent. Somebody would not rent you something if they could make a profit on you. Meaning,
a huge profit.
Meaning the rent you're paying is 9 times out of 10 above the mortgage that somebody's paying. Right? So you're paying somebody's mortgage when you're paying rent.
Right.
So you have so I want everybody listening to think about that. The payment you're making on that washer and dryer, or the car, or the apartment, or the house that you're leasing, that's above and beyond what it costs, what their mortgage is. Otherwise, they would not rent it to you at a loss. So you are already paying for that asset. You are paying above market price for that asset right now. So that's pretty much what I wanted to leave with you all. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Murphy, for joining us. This has been a plethora of information that we're going to apply. This is all we have time for. I'm Roz B. Ask Roz B. If you want to reach me personally, my number is 972-679-9311.
Melanie. Yes, Melanie Williamson. You can reach me for credit education at 469-403-8394.
And my name is Rhonda Hutchinson. I'm the Lone Lioness. You can reach me at 214-856-3747.
I'm Chris Ziegler with the Allstate Ziegler Agency. I can be reached at 214-870-4269. And we're going to wrap it up. Thank you, Murphy, for being with us today. Take us away, Ron.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye, KHVN family. That's all we have time for.
All
We'll
right.
see you
Bye-bye,
the
Facebook.
first Saturday of September. Bye-bye.
First Saturday, September. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Building Wealth Together. Be sure to follow this program on Facebook and Instagram. And for more information, call 469-795-1708. Tune in every first, second, third, and fourth Saturday for Building Wealth Together on Heaven 97 KHVN.
Here's the deal. I want you all to tune in to your #1 gospel station.
To Heaven 97.
Heaven 97.
Heaven 97.
Heaven 97. KHVN.